So there's a statistic going around that half of the population is going to be single. About 50% of people, especially men between the ages of 35 and 44, are going to be single. And now I wonder, is this a real natural societal shift or is it something that's engineered? I wanted you to listen to a video and then I wanted us to have a discussion about what this means.
Basically, like now, if you're on a dating app and two people match and like get off the app, you lose two users, not even just one. So yeah, should they get paid
per match?
per
So
match?
they're a matchmaker and they're incentivized to show you the best people for you truly, because that's the only way they're going to make money.
As CEO of a dating app, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's brilliant. And then I also see the business side of,
Yeah.
why dating apps do what they do. And then there's also the user. And I think as human beings, our attention spans are so short that we don't use technology properly. So if you use a dating app or you use Instagram the way that you're in control, it can be beneficial, but we're getting these dopamine hits. We're using it as a game. And then, yes, the company needs money. And it's like this just beast of an animal that it's hard to walk back. But I think it's all three people, the user, where the user uses it, and then the company making profit.
But here's the catch, is that if two people actually become a very good match, then they lose two users and the company uses money. In basically the statistic, in 2 decades, there'll be 50% of people living single. That statistic is pretty staggering. And when I started to really think deeply about it, the more I started to realize that this seems a little bit more engineered, because a dating app has very specific metrics that it needs to meet. Firstly, it needs to keep you single for you to stay on the app. And now if you find a good wife or a good spouse and you get married, that's more money that's been lost for them. Now, are they really meeting a need of loneliness, or is slowly more and more products becoming engineered and wired and designed in such a way that people don't actually live fulfilled lives? Now, that's the first thing that I wanted to say. The second thing is, especially when it comes to men, I can understand why you feel the way you do, especially if you live in modern society, where a lot of the times right now, the court system doesn't favor the men. But it's really disappointing to find out that it seems that at all corners, it's a lose-lose situation. Because while we're here thinking that, we can have it's this empowerment and that empowerment, at the end of the day, it's all, in my opinion, just a tactic to just keep the few people at the top making decisions and then keep the people, the rest of us, butting heads at each other, and then we never really advance and move forward. But anyway, I digress. So I started to really dig deeper about just these dating apps and what's really their incentive for them. Is really the incentive for them to give you the best match, or is it just to get as many users on the app as possible? Now, we know that a lot of these tech companies thrive on creating habit-forming products. And habit-forming products are not necessarily a bad thing if it's helping you form healthy and good products. But as I said, this is Pokes on relationships, and relationship is the bedrock of society. Literally, just on an instinctive level, let's just say we're not even speaking about finding the love of your life or finding somebody to cuddle with. Just basic human, primal, instinctive, meet somebody, make more babies, keep the human race going. Just on that level, I can see more and more that products are not wired or pushing us towards that. They're not pushing us towards thriving in that particular way. And not just products, not just technology, more and more things around us, laws that are being passed, cultural shows that are being pushed, right, is not being pushed towards creating a healthy and budding society, in my opinion. Now, you might say that, okay, well, modern traditional is better. And I mean, it really is traditional in what sense, right? I think that ultimately, when it comes to making such an important decision about how you could who you could potentially spend the rest of your life with, to outsource that to a dating app is pretty risky. It's extremely risky. And so what I think, frankly, should happen right now is that there should be a revolution. Now, I initially wanted to tap on it because I realized that more and more there's an increased anxiety and an increased loneliness among the male and men gap, the male and men gender. And I wondered why this was the case. And I started to see more and more that, oh, people are actually making money off of men not deciding to commit. And so what just happens is you just create the society where people are just in relationships and there are no commitments. And what does that do? Literally, what does that do to the psychology and the fabric of the society? And whether we like it or not, if we want to look at case studies of societies that have really pushed this kind of liberal, or not just liberal, but like this kind of modern mindset of no strings attached, it's not that safe to be in a marriage, or and society not really supporting and encouraging healthy marriages, it ends up in population decline. And unless you're not bothered or concerned about that, then that's okay. But then that's where you'll see my other episodes. That's where you'll end up seeing more and more tech companies trying to solve this problem by creating robots. But is that really the problem? Is that really the problem? I think that right now, if you're in a situation and you thinking that, man, I really would like to share my life with somebody, but actually it's not safe out there, the first thing that I would just do is pray. Okay, do not outsource the most important decision of your life, other than what your purpose is, to apps, to products, to technology. Otherwise, you will make a decision to be with somebody that will absolutely derail your destiny. That's number one. Because when you increase your capacity and your gift of discernment, you are not swayed by things that you see. And this is not just for men, this is men and women. Let us start increasing and fighting for discernment and understanding. That's number one. And then when you do that, you will actually be directed towards the right path of looking for the right things in a person. That's number one. And then number two, get educated. I just recently saw a video which I thought was pretty fascinating on a divorce lawyer by the Diary of the CEO, and he was speaking about getting a prenup. Find out the laws that pertain to marriage. It is amazing to me that this very important decision that people have to make about their life, about relationships, is the one area people don't do research in, is the one area that people don't actually do due diligence in. Why would you want to do that? Outsource your destiny and potentially derail your destiny to hope and to just maybe it will work out. No, do your due diligence. Be sober-minded about the person that you want to decide to end up being with in your life. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't know anything about business, what do you do? Buy books on business. If you want to get fit and you know you have to go and compete in the Olympics, what do? Get fit. Get around other people who've been fit. Get around people who have who's walked the path that you've walked before. But what do? No, we decide to go to products and we decide that we're going to listen to people who haven't had success in this particular area. So that's the second thing I'll do. Get educated on the laws. And also the third thing that I would also say is start building a solid community of the people that you want to actually be like around you. Now, nobody is perfect. I'm not saying anybody is perfect, but one thing I've started to see is that if we allow the society of just products and technology infiltrating the most integral parts of our life and our society, right now we might feel angry at that the system is rigged. Everybody feels like the system is rigged against them. Liberals feel like the system is rigged against them. Conservatives feel like the system is rigged against them. The fact of the matter is, it's not about other people. Yes, definitely they are making laws, they're making decisions that affect you. But ultimately, are you going to allow that? Are we going to just sit by as human beings and just allow that to continue to happen? We need to stand up and take ownership of what's going on and say, no, we don't like that direction. And yes, it might be a little bit uncomfortable to push back, but I think it's about time that we start doing that. I think that it's about time, because at the end of the day, AI technology has taken over a lot of the things that right now we can escape to as human beings, particularly when it comes even to this demographic, this increasing demographic of loneliness that is growing among men. What are you going to do when they have taken away something that is so integral to who you are, and that is the ability to work? We need to start rising up and really take charge of this future that is being pushed on us by technology and AI. Again, I say I'm not against technology, but can we please start having conversations about the things that really matter? Can we talk about the court systems and how it got there? Can we actually talk about how the fathers have been removed out of the home and how do we bring them back in? Can we talk about how mothers have been removed out of the home and can we get them back in to spend more time with children? Because now we're talking about people creating robots to take care of the elderly. And before I said, I'm pretty sure that perhaps if society was conducive to people actually spending more time with their family, that they would probably do that instead of having to have a robot. Are robots cool? Absolutely. And I want to get my hands on one and find that out, but not when it replaces what makes us integrally human, and that is connection. So if you are thinking that, man, I don't want to be older and alone, because being alone is pretty different to being lonely. And quite honestly, I can understand why right now you're looking at modern society and you're thinking, I don't want to get matched up. I said the first and best solution to do is to pray. Because here's the thing, even if there was a whole bunch of good people, the fact of the matter is a good person, but not the right fit is still bad. And you should not outsource something as important as a potential life partner to technology. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this, and I wanted to speak about this. Let me know what you think. Is there a solution? Am I being a little bit naive into thinking that this just the state of humanity and relationships where we're at right now can actually be fixed? I really do think it can be. But do we have the will and the wherewithal? I think also we do. Human beings, we are resilient. But when I came across this statistic, it was pretty staggering, because then I was just thinking of all the people in my life that I know, whether you have brothers, if you have uncles. It's cute now when you're young, but when you're 70, is it? When you're 60, is it? Right now in Europe, we have entire villages emptying out because there's nobody. Literally nobody. But I don't agree with that, because I think we were created to be fruitful and multiply. And so when I look at all these things engineered at achieving the opposite, I can't grab my heart. I can't wrap my heart around it. I don't want to. And I think that you shouldn't either. But I digress. Perhaps you disagree. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you actually think that this loneliness thing is planned and is being engineered. I'd like to get to the bottom of this. Once again, thank you for joining me on Pokes on Relationships. And today I had a little mini rant, but thank you for joining me on it. And until next time, bye bye.